In 480 BCE, King Leonidas of Sparta made a promise that seemed impossible to keep. Standing before the massive Persian army of over 200,000 soldiers, he declared that his force of just 300 Spartans would hold the narrow pass at Thermopylae. The Persians laughed. How could such a tiny force stop the greatest military machine the world had ever seen? But these weren't ordinary soldiers. These were men who had trained for this moment since they were 7 years old, warriors who had been shaped by the most brutal military system ever created. The question wasn't whether they could win. It was whether their sacrifice would change the course of Western civilization forever. The answer lay in Sparta's revolutionary military system, the agoge. At age 7, Spartan boys were ripped from their families and thrown into military barracks where they lived like soldiers for the next 13 years. They slept on reed beds, ate simple barley meal and cheese, and endured beatings designed to build pain tolerance. By age 20, they had mastered the 8-foot spear, the bronze hoplon shield, and the phalanx formation that made them nearly unstoppable. But here's what made it really work. While other Greek cities treated warfare as a part-time job, Spartans made it their only profession. Citizens couldn't farm, couldn't trade, couldn't do anything except train for war. The Helots, their enslaved population, did all the manual labor while 8,000 Spartan warriors devoted every waking hour to perfecting the art of killing. This military obsession came at a brutal cost. Spartan society was built on a foundation of terror and oppression. The Helots outnumbered citizens 7-1, creating constant fear of revolt. Every year, Sparta formally declared war on the Helots, giving young warriors legal permission to hunt and kill them in secret operations called the crypteia. Spartan women, meanwhile, lived in a world unlike anywhere else in Greece. They could own property, exercise naked like men, and even drink wine. By the 4th century BCE, they controlled 2/5 of all Spartan land. But this freedom served the state's military goals. Strong women would produce strong warriors. As one Spartan mother famously told her son, "Come back with your shield or on it." What made Spartan warriors truly terrifying wasn't just their training, it was their psychological warfare. They wore blood-red cloaks that hid battle wounds and made them look like demons on the battlefield. They grew their hair long and braided it before battle, believing that long hair made handsome men more beautiful and ugly men more terrible. Their bronze shields bore the lambda symbol, the first letter of Lacedaemon, making them instantly recognizable. When enemies heard the steady rhythm of Spartan feet marching in perfect unison, many fled without fighting. The secret wasn't just superior tactics, it was the absolute certainty that every Spartan would rather die than retreat. When Xerxes invaded Greece with his massive army, most city-states wanted to negotiate. But Leonidas saw an opportunity that would change everything. The narrow pass at Thermopylae, the hot gates, was only 50 feet wide at its narrowest point. Here, numbers meant nothing. The Persians couldn't use their cavalry or deploy their massive army effectively. For 3 days, 300 Spartans held the pass, their bronze spear points creating an impenetrable wall. Persian arrows darkened the sky, so many that a Spartan warrior joked they would fight in the shade. But what happened next was even more remarkable than their brave last stand. When Leonidas and his 300 fell on the 3rd day, their sacrifice ignited something unprecedented in Greek history. The news of their heroic death spread like wildfire across Greece, transforming a collection of feuding city-states into a unified resistance movement. At Plataea 1 year later, 11,500 Spartan warriors led a Greek coalition that crushed the Persian army completely. The professional military system that Sparta had perfected became the model for every Greek city-state. The hoplite phalanx formation spread throughout the Mediterranean world, eventually being adopted and perfected by Rome. But Sparta's military perfection contained the seeds of its own destruction. By 371 BCE, constant warfare had reduced their warrior class from 8,000 to just 700 men. At the Battle of Leuctra, the brilliant Theban general Epaminondas shattered the myth of Spartan invincibility forever. The Helots rebelled, Sparta's territory was carved up by enemies, and the warrior state that had dominated Greece for centuries became a second-rate power. Yet their legacy lived on. Roman legions marched in formations pioneered at Thermopylae, and 25 years later, military academies worldwide still study Spartan tactics. The 300 who died at the Hot Gates had achieved something beyond victory. They had created a warrior ideal that would inspire soldiers until the end of time. What price would you pay for excellence? The Spartans sacrificed everything, freedom, family, even their humanity, to become the perfect warriors. Their system was brutal and unsustainable, yet it created legends that still inspire us today. In our modern world, where we struggle to balance personal achievement with human values, what can we learn from Sparta's ultimate triumph and tragic fall? Let us know in the comments. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.